Welcome back to Gig Harbor Paddling. Today we're talking about our Olympic fund. The Olympic Fund is something that Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak Racing Team Board has put together as this pool of money that sponsors and donors can put money into for athletes that are specifically training to go to the next Olympics. We usually give the donation out based off of criteria of when an athlete is a Gig Harbor alumni, so they're registered with us, they're wearing our jersey, and they're actively training, and they've qualified for these events and raced at these events, and depending on their performance at the events, get certain amounts. Typically by October, September time, when racing season is over, and we have all of the data on how athletes have qualified and performed, then we look at who is qualified for what funding. And in the past, we've had quite a few different athletes, and this year we have, in 2024, Jonathan Grady as our recipient for the Olympic Fund. All right, Johnny, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you've gotten to where you've gotten?
Yeah, so I started paddling when I was like 8 or 9, did the summer camp with my brother, and in Gig Harbor, fell in love with the sport, fell in love with the harbor, and stuck with it. Paddled all through high school, all through college, and I'm still training now, trying to qualify for the Olympics. And this year raced internationally to try and do that. Just missed out, but I'm going to try for the next cycle.
All right, Johnny, so this year, which events did you qualify for and race in what events, all of that stuff?
Yeah, so I train in the canoe, C1, I'm a lefty. I paddle C1 1000 because that is the Olympic distance for men's canoe singles. And I also paddle C2 500 because that's the Olympic distance for the doubles. My C2 partner, also a Gig Harbor alumni, Kenny Kasperbauer. He now lives in San Diego, but I'm up here training in Seattle, and I'm still racing with the yellow jersey.
All right, Johnny, I am about to present you with this check that you don't even know what's on it, but before you see it, I want you to explain what these funds go to. What are all the different things that you have to pay for throughout the year just to train and travel for qualifying events?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different expenses. I think we did the math one year, and if I go to all the races I could possibly go to, we're spending upwards of 30 grand. And that cuts like for travel expenses, race fees, coaching fees, boat rentals. Sometimes this includes like gym membership, if you need like a nutritionist or doctor's appointments and things like that. These things need to be covered. A lot of it's into like transportation for training camps and things of that nature. So a lot of different expenses.
Does that even cover the food that you eat?
It doesn't cover the food. It doesn't cover housing. It doesn't cover a lot of things, but every bit does help. Every bit helps.
And you also work a job outside of training, right? To help fund yourself?
Yeah, and I do my best to fundraise in other ways and get family and friends, community to support. So it takes a lot of financial support from many different areas to fund canoe sprint at a high level.
Yes, and our team loves to support you, so I want to give you this check. And is he going to open it now? Is he going to see? All right, go ahead and open up just to see what you're getting this year. It's like early Christmas.
Wow.
It's very official.
Oh my, thank you guys. $10,000, $250.
There we go. There we go.
Wow.
2024 recipient, Johnny.
Wow.
We just
Thank
want you to
you
keep
guys.
training and to stay healthy and fast.
Representing Gig Harbor Canoe Kayak Racing Team. Go Gig. This is really helpful because it's like, well, maybe I would be able to just go to the bare minimum, like go to trials and go to World Championships. But now, like when you have like large sums of money excess, you can go to World Cup, you can go to training camps, you can.
The training camps. Yeah.
I mean, especially for team boats,
Yes.
getting like time, weeks and weeks in training camps, like in team boats with the people you're racing with, makes a huge difference.
And this year, I know at ICF Congress in Turkey that just ended, they were discussing potential quota systems for the next Olympics and needing to go to so many different events in the continentals so that you can get points to get even a quota for your country. And so if that passes, then you are forced to go to all these events to even have a chance.
Large donations make the biggest. I mean, any amount helps, but large donations make the biggest help because the opportunity cost of working a job means you can't train, and the opportunity cost of like spending time doing fundraising in other ways means that like you can't spend time recovering, you can't spend time doing these things, which are all really valuable. And so you have to learn to like balance these. And so when you get really generous donations like this, it's like it's so freeing because then you're like, oh, all right, the possibilities have just been vastly opened up. I can now train more, I can recover more. am not worried about like, making ends meet where like it's hard.
Yeah, and I hope you take this, that we believe in you. Like, we really are excited. Yeah. Many other sports have funds from the USOPC or from their national governing body.
Yeah.
Why are you in the position you're in where you're completely self-funded and you're one of you are the fastest male canoer according to trials earlier this year? So what's going on?
So it's different per sport. So bigger sports like track or swimming, they're funded in some ways by the USOPC, and they have an ability to get a lot of sponsorships. Big brands, Nike, Adidas, they want to sponsor these famous athletes because they have like a fan base that brings in revenue for that brand. Smaller brands, they do smaller deals, but smaller sports like canoe kayak don't have a ton of publicity, and so the ability to do those brand deals is harder. Now, it's not impossible, but you really have to be at the top level. We've had a few athletes over the years who have medaled at World Championships events or at the Olympics, and they have gotten deals, but unless you're really in that top percent, it's really hard to get it. The USOPC does fund the top like 7 or 8 athletes in each division, but in a category like men's sprint canoe, really the top 18 people are all eligible to qualify for that final, that A final, and if you don't make the A final, you don't get funding. And really over the last several years, any of those top 18 guys have made the final, and so the field is so competitive right now that the ability to break in and get funding is kind of tooth and nail for everyone. And so it makes it hard. The USOPC does what they can, the ACA does what they can, and for small sports where it's competitive, it's really hard to get funding and it's hard to get brand deals. So support from community, support from teams is really helpful.
If you'd like to learn more about this fund and want to help athletes like Johnny and people who are on the way to the Olympics through Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak, we have a fund for that. So go onto our website, ghckrt.com, and click on the donate button, specify what fund you want, or just contact us, and we are going to help get these athletes to where they need to go. This is tax deductible, and we want to help. So if you want to help us help them, click away.